In today's video, I'm going to share with you why it is important for a smartphone to have a pretty good telephoto lens. Not those with extreme planetary zoom capabilities or those with super high megapixel count, but a telephoto lens with just the right amount of megapixels for practical use, perfect focal length for portrait shots, and decent software and image processing to back it up. I'm talking about the newest portrait expert, the OPPO Reno11 Series 5G. Now, while we're going to focus mostly on its telephoto lens and its portrait capabilities, of course, I'm also going to share with you some sample shots from the entire camera system and how you can completely take advantage of everything it has to offer. With that being said, let's get into it. As always, honest disclaimer, this time around, this video is in partnership with OPPO to showcase the outstanding capabilities of the OPPO Reno11 5G's telephoto camera. So this will not be a full review, but rest assured that you'll get pretty much all you need if you're eyeing this phone for mobile photography as a portrait expert. With that out of the way, let me just pop out the key specifications of the OPPO Reno11 5G's ultra-clear portrait camera system so that you can have a better understanding of what this smartphone is all about. What we have here today is the standard OPPO Reno11 5G. Now, as I alluded to earlier, the OPPO Reno11 5G doesn't flex a telephoto lens with out-of-this-world zoom capabilities, which to be honest, most of the time is just pure gimmick anyway. But instead, it boasts a perfectly usable telephoto lens with a familiar 47mm focal length, which is right around the standard 50mm focal length that is ideal for portrait shots. 50mm is ideal because it brings versatility and ease of use while providing the perfect natural-looking portraits without much distortion and with enough background separation. And with a relatively wide aperture of f2.0 and 1/2.74-inch sensor size, rest assured that it can capture an ample amount of light and provide that balance of fast shutter speed and low ISO values, resulting in cleaner and sharper images. Not to mention its 32-megapixel count partnered with the Sony IMX709 sensor. Here, let me show you some sample shots. The following images were taken indoors with a couple of studio lights turned on and shot using the default settings of the portrait mode unless otherwise specified. Now, there are two focal lengths available under portrait mode. The wider 26mm, which uses the 50-megapixel main camera, and the 47mm, which uses the 32-megapixel telephoto lens. As you can tell, both can take pretty good portrait shots. The main camera at its default settings of f2.8 delivers a smoother image overall and captures more area around the subject, while the telephoto lens at its default settings of f4.5 delivers a more compressed image and highlights the subject very well while still providing enough background separation or bokeh. This is ideal for both half-body and close-up portrait shots. At their default settings, the telephoto lens offers better dynamic range and more details, especially on the highlights. Of course, you can tweak the settings to try and match them, but at its out-of-the-box settings, the telephoto lens is the clear winner for portrait shots. I can even say that the telephoto lens's sharpness is too much for my skin since my face is not the smoothest. But thankfully, with the pro-grade portrait mode, I can tweak and enhance this before or even after taking the shot. Now, I don't necessarily recommend this, and personally, I wouldn't do it on my photos. But you can even enhance not just the smoothness of your skin, but also the shape and attributes of your face to make it more flattering. And it does an amazing job making it close to reality and not that noticeable at first glance, especially using the default retouch option. Honest disclaimer, these two sample shots are the only images that I edited in post. All sample shots are out of the camera. Now, here are some sample shots in different aperture settings so that you can have an idea of how the bokeh or background separation looks. Well, the 32-megapixel selfie camera isn't a slouch either. You can definitely take some awesome portrait selfie shots using this, albeit with a wider 22mm focal length and a default retouch setting out of the box, resulting in more flattering portraits. The exposure and dynamic range are really good as well with a very natural skin tone. And even with the default retouching applied, my face still looks relatively natural and doesn't look like plastic. Alright, so this is a video selfie and microphone test for the OPPO Reno11 5G. Microphone test 1 2 3 1 2 3. Video test. And now, this is a video and microphone test for the main camera of the OPPO Reno11 5G. Microphone test 1 2 3 1 2 3. Let me know in the comments below what you think about these portrait shots. I apologize, I didn't have any other model and I had to take these shots using a tripod and a selfie timer, which by the way, you can totally do as well during your travels. Now, for the longest time, my priority on smartphone cameras has always been the ultra-wide-angle lens because I like to shoot landscapes more than portrait shots. However, since becoming a dad, I found myself taking more portrait shots of our son than anything else, so my interest in smartphone cameras has since then shifted. I now appreciate the telephoto lens more than the ultra-wide-angle lens. The telephoto lens of the OPPO Reno11 5G is even better outdoors with natural light, as it can shoot with faster shutter speed and lower ISO levels. The OPPO Portrait Expert engine not only does a great job on facial recognition, separating it from the background with natural-looking bokeh, but it can also accurately target that perfect exposure and white balance for a more natural skin tone. The dynamic range is also outstanding in balance for both the shadows and highlights. I was also surprised by how well the camera of the OPPO Reno11 5G handles different lighting situations, resulting in some dramatic portraits. More often than not, this kind of shot will result in super blown highlights to compensate for the darker shadows, but this shot turned out pretty good. Now, the 16mm 8MP f2.2 aperture ultra-wide camera with the Sony IMX355 sensor is also fairly decent. It doesn't suffer from the typical washed-out images I've seen from other ultra-wide cameras and just looks quite vibrant. The 26mm 50MP f1.8 wide aperture main camera with the Sony LYT600 sensor and optical image stabilization is of course the best and most versatile option amongst the triple camera system. It captures natural and vibrant images with substantial detail and clarity. The optical image stabilization will allow you to capture fast-paced moments with a better probability of getting sharp images. Essentially, a go-to point-and-shoot option for immortalizing life's best moments. I also enjoyed taking still life photos, giving me much needed motivation to go out and see things from another perspective. Overall, the triple camera system of the OPPO Reno11 5G provided the much needed confidence that you won't miss life's precious moments. The ultra-wide-angle camera was not an afterthought, producing vibrant images, while the main camera gives you reliability and versatility with a telephoto lens that is not just usable, but also absolutely outstanding. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to OPPO for letting me experience the OPPO Reno11 5G and for partnering with me for this video. The OPPO Reno11 Series 5G, including the Pro variant, is now available here in the Philippines with the standard variant price at 24,999 Philippine pesos and the Pro variant price at 31,999 Philippine pesos. Both are available in all OPPO authorized offline and online stores, including OPPO's official Shopee, Lazada, and TikTok shops. You can also get both with a plan from Globe and Smart or via installment plans through Home Credit and participating credit cards. In addition, customers can also take advantage of the My OPPO app user benefits such as vouchers and gift codes from participating partners. I'll put some links below if you're interested. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you appreciate this video, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're always awesome.